My name is Richard Howells. I'm the Market Development Manager for Celsa Steel UK. We manufacture steel long products with a focus on reinforcing steel products from our facilities here in Cardiff. Celsa Steel UK, as a steel mill, we're part of the Celsa Group, which is an international operation. We've got steel mills all across Europe, from Spain through to the Nordic countries of Poland and France, for example. We also own a number of downstream cutting and bending facilities for reinforcement steel products throughout the UK and across the Scandinavian and Nordic countries. Initially, to go down the reinforcing steel route, because that was our core product here at Celsa UK. And in 2009 we became certified to the Eco Reinforcement Sector Standard, to BRE's Responsible Sourcing Standard BES 6001. Then a year later, off the back of that certification, we took the view, if we're going to do it for one range of products, why not do it for all our products? And so in 2010 we became certified to BES 6001 for our other steel products as well. So everything we produce here in Cardiff can be certified as responsibly sourced. The first major project we supplied was Southmead Hospital project in Bristol through Express Reinforcements and Carillion, and that was for, I believe, around about 8,000 tonnes back in 2010. So that was quite a hefty first order, and since then we've supplied numerous other projects, some large, some small, but a good mix across the board of from different construction sectors then, basically. A client who is currently specifying eco reinforcement, one I can think of immediately off the top of my head is British Land, who have specified it on all their projects. It helps that it ties in with the concrete sector as well. The concrete industry as a collective have gone down the BES 6001 certification route, and when you have reinforcing steel, which is eco reinforcement certified, and BES 6001 concrete working together as a composite material, it then obviously helps. In terms of a difference between a responsibly sourced piece of reinforcing steel and a standard piece of reinforcing steel, there is no physical difference whatsoever. In terms of cost, there is no difference in cost for ourselves, as Celsa anyway. We don't charge any more for our rebar than we would, which is responsibly sourced and certified, than we would if prior to it being achieving the certification. Despite the additional costs incurred through the certification process and implementing all the systems to support our certification, it's part of our ethos, our sustainable development as a company. It's what we want to do, our sustainable journey, if you want to call it that, and we can't put a price on that. So for us, the responsible sourcing certification of our products is simply added value. It puts us in a position to compete in the marketplace using our sustainable credentials to win work at no extra cost to the customer. Responsible sourcing is important because in this current sustainable climate, I think the focus is on buyers and specifiers to ensure that they're demonstrating their commitment to sustainability. It's easy to do that through individual elements within a supply chain, for example, because any company can develop its own corporate social responsibility report or achieve accreditation to schemes such as EMAS, the Eco Management Assessment Scheme. But to do that through a complete supply chain is a lot more difficult because you've got various different factions within a supply chain. Responsible sourcing is a complete supply chain initiative, so it begins at the source of the raw material. It goes all the way down through the production, manufacture and supply until the point when it's then installed or utilised within a construction project or otherwise. Our steel is manufactured from scrap metal, and we have a recycled content of 98% of constituent raw materials. So for us, the starting point in our supply chain is where that metal as a waste becomes a raw material for development into new products. So the source for us is our scrap merchant. So we would buy directly from the scrap merchant, sell on to we would then process the scrap into new products. We would sell it on to a reinforcing steel fabricator who would process that reinforcing steel into the sort of shapes and sizes that are required on a construction site. So the start is the scrap merchant and the end is the construction site. And throughout our certifications to Eco Reinforcement and BS 6001, each part of that supply chain has an element of accountability attributed to it. In terms of BREEAM, BREEAM is the BRE's Building Research Establishment Environment Assessment methodology, and gives points based on various design and procurement elements within a building. In terms of BES 6001, that filters into the responsible sourcing section within BREEAM, and you get additional points for sourcing materials depending on their rating. So eco-reinforcement of BES 6001 steel reinforcement steel products, depending on the rating of the manufacturer and the fabricator, will have additional points within that section of BREEAM. Eco-reinforcement, as an example of a responsible sourcing scheme, is recognised not just in BREEAM but also within CEQAL, the Civil Engineering, Environmental and Quality Assessment Scheme, and also the National Structural Concrete Specification. In terms of specific benefits, the first would be that it gives us differentiation and a competitive advantage against our competitors in the marketplace. It also demonstrates that there's a degree of acknowledgement from the supply chain out there for all the investment, hard work and effort we've put in to demonstrating our sustainable credentials. As a steel manufacturer, our customer, our direct customer, are fabrication companies or cutting and bending companies on the reinforcing side of the business anyway. And their customer then are our framework contractors and tier 1 contractors. So it really puts them in the box seat when it comes to winning work, where responsible sourcing plays such a central role in the projects which some of the more forward-thinking contractors are actually tendering on at this moment in time. The UK reinforcing sector and other sectors in the UK have embraced the government's call to develop and become certified to responsible sourcing schemes. In terms of convincing architects and engineers to specify responsibly sourced products, I'd say it's available from strong, robust supply chains and doesn't cost any more than standard reinforcing steel products. And obviously there it supports their desire to be green, environmentally friendly companies. So my final question would be, what are you waiting for?